My name's Carson Sander-Ferracane, and I run a horsemanship and farrier service out of Longmont, Colorado called CSF Horsemanship. And really what I'm interested in is him not getting behind my hands and him going forward. So right here I want forward out of him. Might run that spur up and And if he really feels like he's got to move his feet, I will move his feet and we'll canter a little bit and kind of get the wind out of him. But at this point, if he's just kind of being good but needing a little bit of support, like right here, he's just kind of hanging on that leg a little. There. You got it steady. Works me here. There you go. Got to sort him out a little bit here. Just trying to get a little softness out of him here, because he's kind of just not with me today. And for me, like I said, on 3-year-old, like, that's really all I care about, is just something. I just want something out of him. And he's a little bit there, but it's also a little bit halfway done for him today. I just want him to feel a little bit better. He feels a little bit lost right now. But that's why we ride these youngsters. Let's see if he can't figure out how to kind of stop fighting it. That's what I'm waiting for, is for him to quit pushing on my hands and my leg. He's just feeling a little bit there. Heavy on that leg. When I'm traveling on an arc, I want like a nice little bend to him. But as soon as I went to lope that right lead, he was like, push that shoulder into my right leg hard. So I was like, well, let's fix that a little bit. And usually if I can get this stuff through, like right here, I want him to kind of just think about life. And if he's got to run into my hands and my feet a little bit, then so be it. And it's cool too, because he's a pretty sensitive horse, so when I pick up on him, I'm using like 2 pounds of pressure, just kind of sharp. I'm just saying, hey, get it together, dude. But really what's been hard for him today is letting go of that outside eye. And I could even see it when I went to saddle him. Here I'm just kind of saying, get the heck off my leg. And usually that's my go-to with horses that have a hard time at that right lead, is, hey, let's stop pushing on my leg. Don't sit there and try to make the one behavior better, make the root better. Because if you don't treat this like the root symptom, you're always going to be treating the side effects. Let's see if he'll bend this way a little bit better. There, that was good. I said get that way. There you go. So essentially all I'm doing is setting him up to where he's got all the tools. But if he's late, I'm going to say, hey, you're late. Get to it. I think about when I was a kid, you know, I never got whooped on or anything, but if I was in a place where I wasn't doing what I should have been doing, I ran into a little bit of pressure, you know? And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but the same thing, it was like when I was done and my parents said, hey, thank you for doing that. It was fine. And the next time I went to do it, it was like, oh, it wasn't that bad to take the garbage out. So right now he's kind of taking the garbage out. He's kind of flipping me the bird and saying, hey, I don't want to do that. And I'm saying, hey, you do want to do that, because look, this little round piece of metal on my foot's going to talk to your belly. There you go. Let's see if we can get this at the trot to the left again. And he is kind of a, you know, being that I started him as a stud colt, he kind of always had a little bit of extra edge in him. There. Which is fine, but he's always going to have a little extra edge in him. And it's interesting because it's not bad, it's not malintended, it's not malicious, it's just like, dude, it was cold this morning and I want to move my feet a little bit. And I'm like, hey, I'm offering a place for you to move your feet. Pretty easy one too. It requires maybe a little more strength than you running around hollowed out like a knucklehead, but in here too, it's all about that outside rein and your outside leg, or your inside leg, really. When you're, or I guess inside rein, outside leg when you can't rein a correct circle, but here it's outside rein, outside leg. And I'm saying drive, drive, drive. And he's saying, nope, I don't want to. And I'm saying spur, remember that thing? And I'm saying, hey, outside hand, you remember that? Stop ducking your pole. Counterbending, I think, is there. One of the most helpful things I can do with a horse. It frees everything up. Same thing here. He's just still kind of driving on that hand, driving on that inside hand, driving on that outside hand, driving on my inside hand. So I'm going to drive him off of him there. And I like working this stuff at the trot because, for one, it's pretty solid in him. There. You get a little more gusto out of a horse at the trot. And here he's closer. There, the quality improved so much on that one. And that way that he was really pushing on me at the canter was this way. That feels a lot better. I'm going to wait again, though, for him to just drive and really soften. That felt super nice. The other option I have, too, if it's really not coming together working a counterbend, is I can back a side pass on this horse. So see, again, he's a little stuck there. So I might offset him, back him up. There it goes. Back that side pass. Because essentially what it's doing is it's forcing him to gather his feet. And I'm going to be a little sharper with him today than I was the other day. Just because he's feeling a little bit like he needs me to be. And I'm saying, hey, my hands are here. Backwards and lateral. There, that felt better. He's going, crap, this is tough today. This is a little harder. But, again, I'm not going to let my horse get away with kind of what I'd consider him feeling like to that right lead was a little bit. He was wanting to run off on me a little bit. It wasn't bad. I've had horses run off a lot worse, but he just wasn't exactly with me. And again, here, he's still not with me. He's going to run into some leg. Drive and shorten, turn him outside. See here, lift when he's not thinking. I'm saying, hey, you've done this. I'm saying, hey, you've done this, pick it up. There. I'm saying, hey, don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me. See here, he's just not with me. Not with me. There, that was with me right there. See, he's thinking about that leg that time. But he didn't think about that leg without forgetting about his face. And really, like, the pole is just a symptom of everything else. If his body's not right, I'll never get his pole right. He's a pretty sensitive horse. If I sat here and thumped him over top of his head with the end of my reins and spurred him in the shoulder, he'd probably get faster on me. And at the end of the day, I mean, the old cowboys always told me, like, you can ride a horse as fast as they can run. And I agree with that, but do I want to? Probably not. Do I want to ride a horse who's with me and feel soft? Heck yeah. And if I had him in the branding pen, say, one of these days, I'd rather him be with me than away from me. That's a good way to get yourself in a rope wreck and get somebody else hurt. At this point in this horse's life, he's 3 years old. He doesn't know. And it's like, I don't know. I think the teachers that I had a hard time in school. I had a hard time sitting still. I like being out doing stuff. The teachers that I had that made life easy for me were usually ones that were like, if you're struggling, you just don't know. You're just a kid trying to learn multiplication. It's the same thing here. It's like, he's never done a flying lead change. He hasn't loped that many circles in his life, you know? So I can't sit there and get mad at him for not knowing. But I can try to teach him the basics and say, hey, you're very capable here. You're a very strong learner and you try really hard. So let's see if we can put it together and get that a little better. And so now what I'll do is I'll try to go back to my right lead. There, way better. Right lead right out of the box. And slow, we're just kind of loping around here. But again, I want to be able to check in with him and say, hey, are you soft? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty soft. Perfect. Bumping on rein that much and spurring on him that much means something to him. I ride a lot of horses that people have doled off, and I think that's a hard thing, is putting the feel back in a horse. But that's why I like starting colts so much, because it's right there. I never have had to spur this horse. I've never had to jerk on his face, and you know, I've never had time to offense and let him run into his own nose, that sort of thing. He's just soft. I think spurs are a great tool, and a tool is a tool. I mean, think about a framing hammer. In one hand, it's a carpenter's tool. In the other hand, it's a murderer's weapon. You know, it can be anything really. So a spur is no different. I mean, I could sit here and spur him in his shoulder and probably put a big hole in him, and physically put a big hole in him too if I really wanted to. But at the same time, I wear spurs because I can tell this horse a sentence through my spur. I'm not sitting there having to bump on him, bump on him, bump on him. If he's really hanging on my leg, I can say, hey, get off this rowel, get off this rowel. And more often than not, it's a surface area thing. So, you know, if I'm kicking on him with the boot heel, more often than not, you can dole a horse out pretty quick that way. Usually if I'm in the round pen doing a first ride or something on a colt, I'm not the handiest bronc rider that ever lived. So if I need to take a hold of one with my legs for a second to get my seat back, I don't want to cheat him and spur him. I ride my colts in a halter for the first few rides. I think a rope halter at that point, for one, is like, it's the crossover from my groundwork to what I'm doing under saddle. But at the same time, a rope halter's got plenty of feel to ride a horse in a round pen. But if things really did go sideways, and again, I'm losing my seat and maybe I've lost a foot, I try not to get in bronc rides. I kind of these days get a little bit frustrated with myself if I have a horse fall into a bronc ride because I didn't set him up enough, essentially. But yeah, same thing. It's kind of it's a tool that helps me. I can pull on their face a little bit and help them slow down to come out of that wreck. But again, everything's a tool, everything's relative. I've seen people do crazy stuff with snaffle bits even. Snaffle bit's one of the most general tools you could use.